Superman Year 1 Issue 3 sees a submarine succumb to an exploding volcanic gas underwater, causing the woman aboard to call for a mayday. Water rushes in as Atlantis' defenses come online, ready to destroy the submarine. However, Superman arrives, pushing the sub back towards the surface as the missiles are fired. With no time, Clark rips the window off the sub and grabs the window, racing away as the missiles explode it. Putting the woman on the beach, Clark delivers her mouth-to-mouth, but it isn't getting a response. Clark doesn't give up as the woman jolts awake. She thanks him, saying her name is Lois, and Superman picks her up and leaves her up in a tree, saying that he will be right back. Going back down onto the beach, he calls out the SEAL team hiding in the bush that he heard earlier, telling them that they should just get on with it. The soldiers surround him, but Superman easily disarms and stops them. More come and try and taser and gas him, but nothing seems to work. Another boat full of soldiers arrive, telling him to get on the ground. Their leader says that he's violating a maximum security area, and so is the woman he saved. But Superman says that Lois is under his protection, but the soldiers say that he has no idea whose feet he is stepping on being there. Superman says that there is life in Atlantis, and it is sacred, and it's getting attacked for no good reason, and he won't stand by and let that happen. The soldiers fire an electrified clamp around Superman, but he easily breaks out of it, sending shrapnel everywhere that wounds and incapacitates the soldiers. Taking out more with a mini sandstorm, Clark returns to Lois, finding that she's gone into shock thanks to the cold. Looking for her ID, Clark learns that Lois Lane is a reporter, so he wraps her up in his cape and flies off with her, promising he will get her somewhere safe and he will always keep her safe. A year later, Clark, fresh from university where he majored in journalism, rides a train to Metropolis, where one of his teachers has gotten him a job at the Daily Planet. Heading through the big city, Clark wonders that maybe the Clark Kent side of him can be a mask in this city. Suddenly, a child runs out onto the road in front of a truck, causing Clark to race out and save her. People see him, but in the confusion, he disappears into the crowd, hearing the woman thank him for saving her child. Leaving his things at his apartment, Clark heads to the Daily Planet, where while waiting for Perry White, he learns that crime is rampant in Metropolis. The hurricane known as Perry White arrives, telling Clark that if he wants the job, the only one that can make it happen is him, and he needs to show Perry what he's got. As he leaves, Clark sees Lois in the bullpen, but knows that she will recognize him as Superman, so he needs a disguise while he is Clark Kent. Stopping off at a hat shop, he begins to sort out his secret identity, consisting of glasses and an old-fashioned hat that changed the shape of his head, which will help make him look so unlike Superman. Later, Superman takes to the rooftops, listening for crime out in Metropolis and filtering through them by priority. He soon stops a group of bank robbers, trapping them in an alleyway with their cars, before taking down a group of drug dealers, leaving them wrapped up in duct tape for the cops. Nearby, a woman is being beaten by her husband, so Superman steps in, telling the cowardly man that this is the woman's home as much as it is his, and it looks like her and her kids could use some quiet, so he hangs the man outside the window with some duct tape as the police arrive. Down at the 9th precinct before dawn, the police find that 3 separate criminals have been dropped at their doorsteps, again covered in duct tape. Superman continues to take down crime all over Metropolis, which begins talking about the flying man, capturing a picture of him that makes the news and the papers. At the Daily Planet, Lois is on the case of the mysterious flying man as Perry White says that there is a hostage crisis at Lex Luthor's palace. Perry gives Jimmy the job of getting the copies to Mrs. Winters, and as he delivers the copies to her, she tells him to grab his camera since he's going with her and Lois. As they head out, Lois wonders where Clark has gotten to as he ducks into a back room, changing into his costume and taking off into the rainy night sky. Lois and the others board the Daily Planet helicopter and head to LexCorp, despite not having clearance for the area. Suddenly, Superman shoots out in front of them, causing the chopper to shake in the shockwave. Clark finds a perch high above the tower, quickly putting the thought of how humans look small out of his mind since they are his people, and they are in danger thanks to the 5 men holding a group hostage in the LexCorp tower. Spot get ready to go in as the men begin getting scared, taking a little girl hostage and telling the FBI chopper watching them that they want $1 billion in diamonds and a transport or the kid dies. Suddenly Superman arrives, grabbing the girl and one of the thugs, who says that they will all burn. Superman puts him on a weather vane before stopping with the child, wrapping her up in his cape and learning that she has a phone on her, which he uses to tell the police where she is so they can come and pick her up. up. Superman races back to LexCorp, ripping the building open as the men open fire on him. He traps the men under the steel roof as the hostages soon escape, and Lois rappels down from the helicopter on an adjacent roof, taking photos of Superman sealing the men inside the steel. At the other end of the building, Lex Luthor arrives, knowing everything is going according to plan and everything is in order. He confronts Superman, finding him very impressive, but all his power is put to such waste. Superman says that he isn't one of Luthor's lackeys, and Lex invites him inside as Lois continues getting photos. Getting out of the rain, Lex says that they both despise agents of chaos and terror, like the one in Gotham at the moment, Batman. And Superman has heard of him, and Gotham is a rough place, and Lex shows Superman some photos of what Batman has done to criminals, as Clark knows not to trust him. In Gotham Harbor, a cargo ship pulls away from dock as one of their extra passengers, Batman, binds all of the pirates on the boat and guides them down to a lifeboat, sending them to shore. Diving below the water, Batman collects the jet vehicle Alfred had left for him, allowing him to escape as the cargo ship explodes. The next day in Metropolis, word of a cargo ship full of weapons hits the news as Lex Luthor welcomes Superman on stage, letting him meet the police and take some questions. The first from Lois, who wonders if it's true that Superman will be becoming a licensed agent of the state. Lex, however, answers it, saying that Superman only answers to the common purpose and to civic order. Superman tries to get a word in, but Lex continues talking, saying that he's going to reign in chaos like Batman. Hours before, in Gotham City, Lex meets with the Joker, saying that they need something to distract their respective muscle-bound enemies. Joker thinks a new drug is in order, one that will keep the heroes busy for a time and make them zillions. Lex agrees, and he will contact Joker later after his farmer people have gotten onto it. As Joker sits in the subway cart, someone grabs him, saying that he's got questions for the Joker, but they will soften the clown up first. Later, one of Luthor's discreet drug labs is blown up by Batman. Hector Ramirez delivers the news to Lex, letting him know that the building was blown to pieces and there's pictures of Lex Luthor all around the crime scene. Luthor breaks Hector's nose as he thinks of a way he can pit Superman against Batman. He suddenly realizes that he should keep it simple, so Lex's lawyers get to work, suing the Daily Planet for siding with terrorism. Clark overhears the lawyers meeting with Perry, who says that if Luthor wants work done, he should order Batman to be brought in. Clark knows that Lex is scared as Lois wants Jimmy to grab Clark so they can cover the story, but Clark is gone, however, racing to Gotham City as the bat signal lights the sky. Superman goes to the signal, meeting with Batman and sizing him up as Bruce sizes him up. Batman activates his traps, firing his guns at the captured Man of Steel, but nothing hurts him. Batman says that he is going to hurt Superman, and he tells him to bring it on with everything he's got. Batman says that he's tested everything about Superman and he will put him down as he fires a taser weapon at him, punching the hero, but nothing seems to work. Tired of the Dark Knight's games, Superman grabs him, saying that with one punch he can splatter him all over the roof like jello. He suddenly stopped when Wonder Woman arrives, telling them that they need to stop their squabbles, since from this moment on, each of them serves one idea: justice. The Trinity head to LexCorp, with Diana and Clark meeting with Lex as Batman takes out his guards. Diana wraps him in the lasso of truth and he spills all his secrets, telling the Amazon that the lasso is a wonderful tool and she could make trillions off its applications. Lex also details something happening far off world, where an android named Brainiac is enslaving people, along with the lost tribe of Krypton, Kandor. Batman doesn't trust Lex, but Superman knows he's telling the truth, so Superman heads for the window, saying his people need him. Wonder Woman wants to go with him, but Clark can't risk her, so Diana instead just wants a kiss to remember the Superman, so Superman kisses her on the forehead. Taking off as Batman tells Luthor he is going to go to prison and he will be really popular with the other prisoners. Superman takes to the sky, leaving Metropolis behind and breaking through the atmosphere and into the stars, knowing that Kandor needs his help and the genocidal Brainiac awaits him, but without pause he speeds into the unknown towards the never-ending battle. Superman Year 1 Issue 3 was actually a really good finale to the origins of the Dark Knight Returns Superman, albeit it's more updated with modern times, with newspapers referencing today's date and everything, but it's not without its problems, though, as I think it would have been better served if this issue was actually broken into 2 issues. The first dealing with Clark's time learning to be a journalist and what what sort of brought him there, since it's kind of vague of why he wants to be a journalist in this. And the second issue dealing with him meeting Batman and Wonder Woman and that sort of Lex Luthor stuff. The latter half of the issue actually felt really extremely rushed, and things like Lex just suddenly being Superman's enemy came out of literally nowhere. I had to read some of the dialogue a couple of times because it didn't seem to flow correctly, in that Superman suddenly is Lex's enemy, but they hadn't met before that, and I thought I was maybe missing pages or something. I did really enjoy seeing Superman's first outing in Metropolis, and the dialogue of him talking about how to stop criminals and how he goes about prioritizing crimes and everything was really great, and definitely something I wasn't expecting from a 2019 Frank Miller. The ending cliffhanger has me actually hoping for a sequel, and that makes me sound insane. Like, who would want a sequel to a Frank Miller book? But it's set up quite well, and I'm intrigued to see what he would do with Brainiac and Kandor and all those things. I think that would be extremely interesting. I'm going to give this issue a 7 out of 10. A